Hello, hello, I'm the official name. My job is to go through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. And today, this time, I have the framing correct because I don't know exactly what happened, but for whatever reason it had part of the bottom cropped out. Let's see, at the bottom it says, is Sigilyph related to unknown? And it shows that on OBS, so we're good. The answer is no. They're not cousins, but I guess I could see why you would think that. Okay, these are pretty bland. The Atlantis, nothing to say about that. Genesis, like, that's okay, but I don't feel like that's one of those names where it's like Binding of Isaac Bayonetta style that I'm like, I don't know if I would ever use it because I don't know if I ever feel like there would be something that, I don't know, on one hand it's like, it's a cool sounding word, on the other hand it's like, maybe not, I don't know. Garden, there's a pun, I guess. I don't know what it has to do with actual gardens, but whatever. Also, it's not a particularly defensive Pokemon. The only thing really worth highlighting here is Cryptero, because he's like, oh, what's the French name? He is correct, that is in fact the French name. And some people do prefer the other language versions of a Pokemon's name, and if you're on that team, I don't see a problem with it. It's still an official name, it's just, it's not really a nickname. There's no nickname thing to talk about. It's just, if you prefer the German or the Chinese version, whatever, that's whatever, but that's not really a nickname you could recommend to someone. Also, forgot to mention, spreadsheet's empty. So I checked the comment suggestions to see what was on there, and Nazca was also on there, and Nazca is also what it's based off of. So I understand why you wouldn't know that, because I didn't know that. So it's okay, it's whatever, but it is one of those things where it's like, oh, well, in hindsight, it's not particularly that special. The other thing I thought was interesting is it says it's based off, it resembles a wind chime. I didn't see it as a wind chime. I guess I kind of understand it now, but I was just like, I don't know what the fuck Sigilyph is. It's there. Alright, so I spent a little bit of time thinking about this one, looking at this one, and being like, I don't remember Vati. Vati is one of those Zelda bosses and enemies that's so forgettable that you forget them. So I had to refamiliarize myself with it. I'm also haven't played Minish Cap. I'm terrible at the top-down Zeldas. But you know, here's a sprite work. I even looked at a final boss video just to like see if there was something on here that I wasn't seeing, and no, it was kind of basically just this, which to me it doesn't resemble at all, but it's whatever. Like, honestly, I see more of a Kirby enemy than I see a Zelda thing anyway, but I could also understand why you would think a Zelda. Whatever. As a nickname, I like the idea of it, but at the same time, I'm not sure I agree that I think it's the best for it. I don't know in a weird way. I feel like it fits probably Swoobat better just because it's a big old ball, but even then, I don't know. I'm half and half on it, basically. Okay, well, we reached the bottom. I'll be honest, I'm not necessarily surprised. Sigilyph, I feel like, is probably one of the ones that's harder to come up with, and there's some things that we're referencing, like Egyptian things, and I understand why people get that confused too, because the name Sigilyph, you would think hieroglyph, and also they put it in the desert area next to the Cophagrigus and shit, so it's very easy to get that mixed up, but apparently Sigilyph is Peruvian, not Egyptian. I don't know. I don't really have any personal choices. I don't think we really stumbled across anything that was particularly interesting or exciting, and I decided to use Sigilyph for Black 2 randomizer when I was studying up for, Name Raider. You might have seen that in the Soon trailer. I just named mine Ecstasy. That was it. It was just the first thing that came into my head, and, I mean, you can make jokes like, haha, they were taking drugs and they thought of this thing, or you could just think of it like a feeling of ecstasy and joy and happiness. I'm also not opposed necessarily to the idea of naming Pokemon after drugs. I feel like it's a simple name and it can work, but I don't know if it's something that, like, I would say I recommend to someone. It's what I've got for right now, and I don't hate it. So, I mean, if you want to do one that's like, can name your Vanillux Cocaine. I don't know, I can't think of any other jokes, but you could do cocaine, you could do heroin. If the name filters let you get away with it. It let me do ecstasy, but that's also in black and white too. So I don't know. Maybe it changed it. Regardless, that's just what I came up with. There's no recommendations. There's no choices. Spreadsheet's empty. Comment suggestion was just, hey, this is what it's based off of. We didn't really find shit, so let's try and help. Let's try and think of things. It's a hard one, so like, I get it. But I believe in you. I believe you can tell us an idea and help and brainstorm and think together as a unit, as a group. What can we name this weird ass fucking bird that's not Egyptian, even though it's based in New York around some Egyptian bullshit? Pokemon doesn't make any sense.